Kettle drums, timpani. How's my tuning? Am I in tune still? This is my little tune right here. So anyway, many of you know the story. Washington had been burned to the ground, which I think enough for you. Hold on, wait a minute. What's the first one that comes down? If you give me the first chord, I'm okay. The last time we did this was at the Creative Alliance. C sharp minor. Which one? C sharp minor. It's in F, right? Am I capoed correctly? Isn't this professional? It's an E. No wonder I'm not going to hit it. Oh, I'm good now. All right.
Hammers back and the safety's on, safety's on, safety's on. Hammers back and the safety's on unless it's a Glock.
Hello, this is Sister Mary Margaret Fussyknickers. You're about to listen to Free State Radio. Why? I don't know. You may hear subversive ideas like liberty, responsibility, and rights. You may even hear a bad word or two from those foul-mouthed hosts they call talent. So you best shut your mouth and open your mind, because Free State Radio is now on the air.
Talent? That's an interesting one.
Well, we didn't say it was high talent or good talent, just that it was talent. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the July 1st edition of Lock and Load Radio. Most of you know me. Some of you are new. I am Andy, and this is my fabulous friend and producer, Michael, and who goes by MJD 438.
Michael, you're pissed off at me already.
Oh, Jesus. Here we go. All right.
Just keep in mind, welcome to the show. The opinions expressed by the host and anybody who happens to be called in or whatever are the opinions of the individuals themselves and are not representative of any agency, employer, or organization they may or may not represent unless specifically advised otherwise. Now that the legal disclaimer is out of the way, how was your week?
That was another one we gotta get recorded. So my week was good. Tomorrow I start week 2, day 1 of the Couch to 5K.
Better than me.
And I figure, I got screws in my knees. A lot of you guys know that. And so I wasn't sure if I could do it, but tomorrow I change intervals, so we'll see what happens. And I figure I'll do it until I can't do it, and then I'll just go back to walking. But the walking takes much longer. So went to the Hogan event on Saturday, and unfortunately Larry was not able to join us because apparently one of the cancer things had swollen up pretty good, and they decided they were going to start his treatment that day. But I think he was supposed to be released today. According to everything I saw, from the first round of chemo, and to go home. And he's been working from the hospital room and seems to be in great spirits, and by all accounts is doing really, really well. He's got a long road to go, but for those of you that haven't been following this, he is. The good news is he's only at stage 3. They were worried that he was at stage 4 or worse with his lymphoma. What most people don't know is that my husband's father has been in remission from this exact same lymphoma for 6 or 7 years. I've forgotten which. But he did have stage 4. So there's a lot of hope there. And I think, if you haven't got your bumper sticker Hogan Strong, keep an eye on the Hogan website. And oh, by the way, I've got one for you. I have to get it out of the truck.
Okay.
But if Marvin finishes building his Death Star, I might send one along for him. So we have a friend who's apparently has a multi-year project on a model for Star Wars.
Well, he's on the last bag of pieces.
Yes, but multiple years. My goodness gracious. So anyway,
it's not multiple years, multiple months.
Oh, I thought it was multiple years.
No, he just got it after his vacation.
My story was better.
Yes, I know, but I will defend my brother from another mother a little bit. Only a little bit.
Okay.
Now, if he was in the room, on the other hand, I'd just be picking on him mercilessly. Oh, wait, he's in the chat room.
He is in the chat room. He is in the chat room, and he's a big boy and can stand up for himself. So,
Well, he has trouble standing up sometimes, too.
his drink of choice is.
His drink of choice would be rum.
Oh, so he'll have to make me a good mojito sometime. So, no, I am not drinking tonight because tomorrow I transition on the run. And I figure dealing with the alcohol, the remains of the alcohol in my system, probably not a good idea. But next week, I won't be running on Thursday. So I'll be running on Wednesday. So, because I go every other day. The 2 weeks that was, but we're only doing the week that was in the news. All kinds of things going on. Is anyone having...
You let me worry about producing. You worry about talking.
Yes, dear. Skipper Key. Nice to see you. Where's Cypher? Oh, I might have to yell at him. Crying and wants a cookie.
I don't know. He doesn't know that his audio feed is about 7 to 15 seconds behind.
Oh, I see.
Since it's his first time actually listening to the show
In
live.
virgin territory. I'll leave that one right there. Right at the doorstep, and you all can make all the jokes you want in the chat room. Chuck Schumer, yes, your favorite senator and mine, vows, this is according to the New York Daily News, to Senator Chuck Schumer vows major push to get gun control legislation through Congress. Senator Chuck Schumer vowed Sunday to make a major push to get new gun control legislation through Congress, connecting the Charleston massacre to other mass killings that have rocked the country. Except that period-wise, we've had much worse periods of, and Mike and I have had this discussion many times. Historically, this is not the worst time for mass shootings. Actually, during Prohibition, that would have been, the numbers there were epic. And I love his quote. Everyone in the world scratches their heads and says, what is wrong with America here? Schumer, Democrat out of New York, said, listing the Newtown, Connecticut, Aurora, Colorado, and Virginia Tech mass killings. First of all, what are we, teenagers? Teeny boppers? Everyone? I'm not saying it. Are you saying it?
No.
I don't think anybody in the chat room is saying it. Schumer proposed 3 components of common, quote unquote, common sense legislation, increasing the strength of background checks, particularly weed out mentally ill individuals. And as we know, of course, we don't want anybody who is profoundly mentally ill to put themselves or anyone else at risk. But what I might consider mentally ill and what Chuck Schumer might consider mentally ill may be 2 very different things.
Due process of law.
Yeah. Requiring background checks at gun shows and cracking down on the flow of guns from the South to cities in the Northeast.
I hate that frigging gun show loophole.
I know.
I'm sorry, but if it is a commercial transaction, that doesn't exist.
Yes.
If it is a face-to-face transaction, there are still limits in place on that one, and the responsibility falls on the seller. So if it comes back, guess what? If it's a face-to-face sale, who's the last one on the trace file? The one who bought it from a dealer.
That's right.
So
that's right. So it's a disaster. Okay, let's see what else we got. From the Washington Post, yes, your favorite paper and mine. Federal Appeals Court lets new D.C. gun law stand. Federal Appeals Court ruled Monday that the district can continue enforcing its strict new rules for gun permits pending a final ruling on whether the restrictions are constitutional, indicating that the judges see some merit in the city's position and the law should stand. Alan Gora, attorney for Brian Wren, 2 other individual plaintiffs, and the Second Amendment Foundation said only that he was pleased that the court chose to expedite the argument so each side can present its case. The U.S. Circuit Court judges Henderson, Tatel, I don't know which, and Brown disagreed without elaborating, calling for oral arguments soon after a September 24th deadline for written filings by attorneys. And skipping ahead, after the order, they go 18th. He ordered the city to halt enforcing the provision that gives police discretion to grant the licenses only for those who have essentially good and substantial. And after the order, DC police reported receiving a surge of new applicants, 96 in less than 4 weeks, compared to 109 over the previous 7 months the law was in effect. I wonder why. Golly gee.
So keep in mind too, though, that this is only on the preliminary injunction
Right.
that Scullin issued. Scullin has not ruled on the merits of the case. The conjecture could be is kind of 50-50 on either one. At this point, Scullin could decide to go ahead and hear arguments, or if he wants to, and
Right.
rule on the matter of law that is in front of his court, or he could wait until the circuit court rules on the injunction. So preliminary injunction just means that Scullin felt that there was
Actually, go ahead.
felt that the burden was going to fall on the defendant, on the DC, and that the plaintiffs in this case would actually win on their motion on the law, on the point of law. So he ruled for the preliminary injunction. He's been overruled by the circuit at this point, but that's all he's been overruled on. Wren is still an active case at the DC district level. This is just on the injunction. So it's not a sky is falling moment. It's just another cog in the wheel.
Yep, and that's essentially what Gora had said. You sent me this article, like the fabulous producer that you are. But it's an interesting article from U.S. News and World Report. And frankly, it's poorly written, unless they have a blatant anti-gun agenda, which is entirely possible. So this was yesterday. 1 in 3 American adults owns a gun, survey finds. It's a poll of 4,000 adults that indicated that gun owners are more than twice as likely as non-owners to engage in gun-related activities involving friends and family. Well, duh. If I own a bowling ball, aren't I twice as likely as non-owners to engage in bowling-related activities, including friends and family? I'm just saying. They don't talk at all about the methodology in this report. So I'm really not happy with the results, but I will report it here and we'll see what comes of it. Guns are owned by 1 in 3 Americans, and those people are part of a social gun culture that includes hunters and gun club members, a new survey finds. We're not surprised by the degree of gun ownership, said study author Bindu Kalasan. But what is never really emphasized in studies in studies that quantify ownership is how it relates to the concept of gun culture, meaning involvement in social events that revolve around guns. I'm not even sure why that's important. They spent money to study this. So,
like you said, it's another one of those funded studies to make things look bad.
Yeah, and that's the thing. This doesn't even it doesn't even get into that.
Be interesting to see where the funding came from.
Yeah, gun ownership is 50% higher in states with higher gun death rates, according to this study.
Yes, because gun deaths have something to do with ownership.
Yes, well, he gets to that. Alaska tops the gun ownership list with nearly 62% of residents owning guns. I find that remarkably low. And I'm not, I do, I mean, considering, but Arkansas, Idaho, Montana, West by God, Virginia, and Wyoming are next with more than half of the adults in those states possessing firearms. So let's see, now I know where I want to move. By the way, I don't think did we tell them that the house is off the market and we're staying?
You mentioned that
Okay.
2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Okay, wasn't sure. Yeah, y'all are stuck with us. What else? What else did I want to tell you? Oh, yes. Many people own guns, quote, not just because they want to hunt, but also because they simply like guns and are part of a group that likes guns, says the Jeffrey Swanson, a professor in the Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences at Duke University of Medicine in Durham. They feel a sense of meaning and belonging that's centered around guns and also around the ethic of personal protection and the constitutional right to have a gun. Well, when I was trying to be an archery hunter, I associated with people who were archers. When I don't know, but good Lord, if I owned a bowling ball, anyway, about 34. Now I'm going to read this to you. Okay. About 34,000 Americans died in 2013 as a result of gun-related violence, the study authors said. They didn't find that because, remember, there were only 4,000 people in this study. Okay, so they're making these claims. In January of 2014, a study reported in the Annals of Internal Medicine, or the Annals of Internal Medicine, depending on where you are and how you like that pronounced, found that people with access to a gun are 3 times more likely to die by suicide and almost twice as likely to be the victim of a homicide as people without such access. Bullshit. I know it's not 9 o'clock, but I think Jim would approve. Oh, bullshit. Quantify the research on this.
Sorry, Jim.
No.
Twice.
I think he'd approve. I mean, seriously. So if I have a knife collection, does that mean that I am 3 times? And first of all, I would like gun-related violence defined. So,
well, that's one of my pet peeves too. It's not gun violence; it's violence. The tool in some cases may happen to be a gun. The tool in other cases may happen to be rope, a knife, a car,
a Death Star.
A Death Star.
He's not going to like me anymore.
No, I guarantee you, he is sitting there listening to this, laughing his full head off.
Good. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, whatever. I can give me some statistics. I can make them say whatever you want them to say.
Lies, damned lies, and statistics.
Yeah. Hey, we're missing Blasberg. Where the hell is he?
Don't know.
I don't know either.
Haven't heard from him in a little while. I need to ping him again about something else.
I actually
according to Rain Man, if you collect knives, that means you're going to shank someone.
It must, or I'm going to die. I'm 3 times more likely to die from knife violence. Rain Man, I couldn't be more with
knife violence.
Knife violence. Knife-related. Knife-related violence.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody dropped the knife.
Should that make us talk about the Knife Owners Protection Act? I don't think we have an article on it.
If that means that, does that mean that if I drop a knife on the floor, let's say I throw a knife on the floor, like just I'm mad and I throw it, and you have a heart attack, does that mean that you died of knife-related violence?
I guess. I mean, that's as loosely defined as anything else.
I'm just saying. No, I know. No, Rayman. Oh, no. But we took it off the market. We took the house off the market, and Andy is still the lobbyist for the Maryland State Rifle and Pistol Association. But that is a volunteer gig. No, Andy did not land a job, but Andy hasn't figured out what she wants to do yet either. So I have to figure out what I want to be when I grow up, I suppose. COPA?
Yes, the Knife Owners Protection Act.
Oh.
There is actually now a bill.
Oh, come on.
There is actually now a bill proposed by a Republican.
Come on!
For the Knife Owners Protection Act.
No!
And it reads like somebody took FOPA and just took out firearm and put in knife so that you can transport your knife across state lines.
You cannot make this up. Good gravy. So sword violence is known as fencing. Owning a knife means you might cut yourself. Okay, I'm banning my razor. Duck Dynasty, here I come. Yeah, absolutely.
I'd like to see the look on the face of the woman that you live with in that case.
Oh! Okay, well, I haven't met her, so I'm not going there.
Yeah, so
we're talking about our friend Gyroscope, and
so
Mike knows him very
Gyro
well.
Is I'll out this one. Gyro's my brother from another mother. I've known the guy for 33 going on 33 years now.
He might say that's too long. Tonight, tonight, by the time we get done with
joke
everything.
about that anyway. No, he's a good guy, and
He's a really nice guy.
with our other brother from another mother who is will not probably join the show, but
No.
The other brother is responsible for introducing Gyro to his wife and me to mine. So Gyro's been married 2 years longer than I have. I asked my wife to marry me on the day of his wedding, actually.
On the 18th of October.
Yep.
Got
So,
it.
yes,
See?
the Knife Owners Protection Act is, oh my God.
Unbelievable.
Can we say absolute stupidity for no friggin' purpose?
Well, I don't.
I mean, it's brought in front of us by a Republican.
So
I can't remember which one, and I really just don't feel like looking it up.
birthday boys home.
But all I can look at and go is, you've just opened a Pandora's box, and you've given the anti-crowd the next thing to go after.
Yeah.
There's already talk of people wanting to do it, and guess what? They're already doing it in Britain.
Yeah.
So
Some place called. So Mike and I got into it a little bit this week, debating something, and I did not know. Well, I'll get there. So he sent me this article. Whataburger has issued some extremely specific instructions to employees if they witness a law-abiding customer lawfully carrying a firearm inside their stores. They have a picture. This is from buzzpo.com/Whataburger issues, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so if the situation, any Whataburger customer enters your restaurant openly carrying a weapon. Now,
So this is in response to Texas.
No, wait, a weapon. So that would include a knife, a whip. What else?
My fists.
Mace. Let the customer know, quote, "We respect your Second Amendment right to carry a gun. However, for the safety and comfort of our customers and team members, please put your gun in your vehicle so somebody can steal it. Then we can serve you. If the customer refuses, please politely let them know that we cannot serve them. Should the customer become abusive or belligerent, please call 911. If you have any questions, please call your area manager, representative, supervisor, whatever." So yeah, I don't know where Whataburger is, but
Reactionary Whataburger is a Midwest and Western burger joint, and this is reactionary to the recent signing of the Texas Open Carry Laws.
well, they need to get the hell over themselves because
Because the ones we need to be worried about are the guys carrying them in a holster openly.
Skipper Key's giving you shit for proposing on somebody else's wedding day. And you probably
It wasn't during the wedding. He was already going on his honeymoon when it happened. It was that night.
rubber band and a paper clip. Absolutely. Yeah. And so then Mike and I got talking about it, and apparently Buffalo Wild Wings is anti-2A. Although I couldn't find any I saw references to it on boards, not our board, but on boards, but I couldn't find. Yeah, but I couldn't find anything written. Substantive. Yeah, so I couldn't find anything substantive. So I'm hoping that's not true because I like B-dubs.
Yeah, well, if I'm sitting back, that's probably why I sound like I'm on the wall. I mean, sorry, my back is killing me tonight, so I keep moving on.
He came in whining. Apparently the conference room chairs are not comfortable. So I offered him some Percocet, and he just rolled his eyes and shook his head.
I still have to drive home.
I can drive perfectly fine. The only thing Percocet does is make me not care and giggle. Everybody else knocks them on their ass. Sorry. Yeah, well. Okay. Christie announces change to New Jersey gun policy on eve of 2016 kickoff. Reacting to the June 3rd death of 39-year-old Berlin Township woman Carol Brown, Christie on Monday announced that the acting state attorney general, John Hoffman, will file a new regulation to require applications for gun permits for victims of domestic violence, other violent crimes, or, quote, those living under a direct or material threat be processed quickly and without delay. They would have to also count as a justifiable need. Those circumstances would also have to be, so basically good and substantial. You know, the funny thing is I really like Christie. I would have a tough time voting for him. He'd have to win the primary in order for me to vote for him, because I can't vote for him with this justifiable need thing. He's not as 2A friendly as I think he should be. The governor also signed an executive order to create the New Jersey Firearm Purchase and Permitting Study Commission, tasked with, quote, reviewing the state's laws, regulations, and procedures pertaining to the ownership and possession of firearms and ensuring that they do not infringe on New Jerseyans' constitutional rights. Well, I'll be interested to see who's.
They do infringe now.
New Jersey law requires action to be taken on gun permit applications within 30 days, Christie said, but gun rights advocates say local authorities often take much longer than the state law dictates to issue firearm permits. Why don't they take that to court then?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure it probably has been, and we now have, recent tragic evidence on that one for Carol Bound, who was
killed to find out who the
estranged ex-boyfriend while her permit application was sitting gathering dust at the local precinct.
If this stays hot, I'll talk to Shannon and find out who's repping NRA for New Jersey and see if we can get them on the show, because it's liable to be somebody I know. Christie began changing his stance on the state's gun laws as he laid the groundwork for presidential campaigns, saying that he would be open to loosening them if he had a Republican legislature to work with. The governor has also reacted to pressure from gun rights advocates. Well, no, hold on. In the aftermath of Sandy Hook, he proposed a number of measures aimed at combating gun violence, including a ban on the sale of 50 cals, which is when the Democrat-led legislature sent him a bill to do that in 2013, Christie, who had been warned against signing it by a New Hampshire gun rights group, vetoed it. So, okay.
Well, I mean, there's campaign signs from his original campaign where he was campaigning for an assault weapons ban.
Well, he's not now. As long as he's our friend now, I'm fine.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we do think of something like that, but I still don't trust him any farther than I can throw myself.
I know. Welcome, paperwork. Anything going on? No, I did not take some Percocet. I have no reason to take any Percocet. Scott Walker signs bills that scrap 48-hour waiting period and allows off-duty and retired Leos to carry in schools. I love me some Scott Walker. Sorry, have to have my weekly announcement about my Ross Geller card. Yes. And if you don't know about the Ross Geller card, look it up. Justifiable need. While transporting my 2A protected legally, purchase tools to and from a legal range to defend them from theft, because criminals do not care about my rights or the laws.
And the state of Maryland doesn't care about your argument.
Yeah. Well, did you see there was a spoof on Facebook, it was video, and it was about gun-free zones. Did you see that?
I don't remember.
Oh. So they talk about new legislation, gun-free zones, life is great, and crime's going to go down. And so they have these signs, right? And then the rest of the video is really quiet. I mean, there's like no sound, right? So bad guy, with the, and they're actors, but with the, little black mask or whatever, comes into the store, tries to, holds up a gun, or I guess his fingers, I don't even remember, but makes like he's going to, hold up the proprietor. The proprietor points to the sign, gun-free zone. Guy goes, everyone's out of the store, because we all know that criminals read signs and obey them. Then there's another one where he tries to breaks into somebody's house in the bedroom, and he's standing there like this, and the guy kind of wakes up, he's laying in bed, and he points to the sign, and the criminal goes, darn, and he goes scurrying off. I'll have to find it for you. It's hysterical.
Well, there's cartoons that have shown the two masked men standing outside of a bank holding guns in their hands, and the sign of the bank says, "No guns allowed." And they go, "Oh darn! I guess we can't rob this bank today."
Yeah.
There was one I saw today where the guy being held up by a crook with a gun. So he's standing there like this with the crook with the gun in the middle of his back, and he goes, "You can't have a gun. This is a gun-free zone."
Right. Yeah. You know what? You're not allowed. The America's First Freedom, which is one of the publications that the NRA puts out, actually wrote an article back in 2013, but I think it still is true. So I liked it when Mike gave it to me. It's called The Real War on Women. It's written by a woman named Amanda Collins, and it was reprinted yesterday, I guess. I don't know. It's got a byline of yesterday, but it first appeared in their magazine in 2013. Anyway, so Amanda went to school at University of Nevada at Reno, studying to be a teacher. Her parents required her to get a black belt in Taekwondo before she could drive and encouraged me to get a permit to carry a concealed firearm. College, however, wouldn't allow me to carry my firearm on campus, so I was defenseless when a man attacked me from behind, put a pistol to my head, and brutally raped me on the floor of the parking garage. This serial rapist now sits on death row for the abduction, rape, and murder of another woman. When he was still on the loose, I had to beg the university to let me carry my gun in case he came back. They begrudgingly allowed it, but I lost that right the moment I graduated. She makes the point, they teach us that no means no, but they take away my ability to say no when someone much bigger and stronger than my ability to say no to someone much bigger and stronger than I was legislated into being a victim. She's infuriated with lawmakers and administrators who rendered her defenseless that night, but she's even more frustrated with the passivity of other women, especially women legislators, and she's damn right about that. Sorry. So many of them criticize others for trying to impose personal views about a woman's right to choose. Where are they to defend my choice? I think that's such a beautiful point. She says she was legislated into being a victim. She finds it excruciatingly ironic that the University of Nevada actually denied her the ability to supply my own protection against a rapist, but provides free condoms to which my rapist had access. Our college administrators claim they are doing a lot to prevent sexual violence, but so far the most effective thing they've done is deprive me of my own means to defend myself. I love this article. I'm so happy you sent this to me. It's so right on the money. The campus carry issue was a very hot topic in Colorado recently. You guys may remember, getting lots of media attention. In fact, many people were surprised at a list of top 10 tips by the University of Colorado at Colorado Springs, advertising such last resort options when facing a rapist as, quote, tell your attacker you have a disease or you're on your period. And, quote, vomiting or urinating may also convince the attacker to leave you alone. First of all, I'm sorry, have you ever had to pee on demand? Okay, so now imagine that your safety is threatened and try to pee. I mean, it's just, I can't, seriously. In support of the ban, Congressman Joe Salazar made headlines when he agreed that there are gender inequities on campuses. It's why we have call boxes, Salazar said. It's why we have safe zones. Yeah, because, criminals respect safe zones, right? It's why we have whistles. Whistles? Whistles, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Whistles. Because that's going to stop somebody from raping and murdering me. Hell, your car alarm goes off and nobody pays attention to it.
Yep.
Unless it's sitting in your
driveway. When I was at UVA, we made the same arguments about rape whistles, that nobody's going to pay attention to a whistle.
Nope.
I mean, I lived in one of the not off campus, but across from the stadium in campus housing in the apartment buildings, my second year, and then I left the school. But the young lady that I was dating lived in the same complex, had a rape whistle. It did not a damn thing. And when everybody else was asked, when the witnesses were asked why they didn't come running when she was raped and used her rape whistle, they said, well, sounds just like the whistles for the football practice team that was going on right across the street.
Right. Well, and when I took the took that tactical class, he was talking to, I forget whether it was Darren or Amelia, but I said, it somehow got brought up about like a window breaking. If a window broke, it would certainly get my attention. And they said, no, it's not the first window that breaks. It's the second window. That's why most of these robberies go on and the neighbors don't they go, oh yeah, we heard glass breaking, but we didn't think anything of it, because you don't think anything of it the first time. Yeah, I guess maybe hoping that there's nothing going on. And I think it's probably the same with a rape whistle. But you probably are not going to have much time to blow on it, and people aren't paying attention to it. And then on a college campus, of course, it's going to sound like, especially if you're near the gym. Are you still in touch with her? Is she?
No.
Okay. Is she all right when you left? I mean,
It's a story not for sharing to the larger public, but
okay.
no.
Well, we didn't identify her, so. Well, I will keep her in my prayers, because it's just criminal. Let's see, all right, so he talks about the whistles, because you just don't know who you're going to be shooting at. And you don't know if you feel like you're going to be raped, or if you feel like someone's been following you around, or if you feel like you're in trouble when somebody may actually not be, that you pop out that gun and pop around at somebody. Yes, because we all know how untrained gun owners are. Oh, wait. Of course, the odds aren't. Oh, yes. You got to love this. After giving the most graphic and emotionally draining testimony since confronting my attacker in court, she testified in front of the Senate. I was met with Senator Evie Hudak's patronizing response. Actually, statistics are not on your side, even if you had a gun, she said. Chances are that if you had a gun, then he would have been able to get that from you and possibly use it against you. She then cited, this is according to the woman that wrote the article, she then cited a made-up statistic that, quote, for every one woman who used a handgun to kill someone in self-defense, 83 were murdered by them. My response, as Amanda says, my response still remains the same. Respectfully, Senator, you weren't there. Good on her. And she laid awake that night, perplexed how a fellow woman could be so crass. Of course, the odds aren't in favor of a woman, but rather than finding ways to gross out a rapist and quote unquote lower his libido, why not let me equip myself with the one equalizing factor, a firearm? In truth, it's not statistics that are against me, it's the lawmakers. They are more intimidated by me, a 5'2" petite woman who cleared the extensive background checks they approved, sitting in a classroom with my permitted firearm, than they are of the rapist hiding behind a truck waiting for me in a parking
Because her
garage.
permitted firearm is going to lead to grade inflation.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. Yes. They're going to be afraid. Committee Chair Angela Giron, Giron, even told me that my testimony was very compelling, but still cast a tie-breaking vote in favor of banning campus carry. I couldn't believe that the swing vote was cast by a woman who represents the political party claiming to fight the so-called war on women. In fact, Joe Biden had further pushed the real war on women by personally phoning Colorado representatives and encouraging them to pass gun restrictions. Yes, that's the same Vice President Biden who recently voiced his advice to women seeking protection. Quote, if you want to protect yourself, get a double-barreled shotgun. And I promise you, as I told my wife, if there's ever a problem, just walk out on the balcony, fire two blasts outside the house. In an interview in Field and Stream, he even suggested that firing the shotgun through the door if you fear an attacker. Really?
Let's see. Know your target and what's beyond it. Be sure of your target before you're pulling the trigger. Any paraphrasing of any of the 4 safety rules we all know and love? Come on. I mean, just the advocating a completely unethical and in a lot of places illegal act of firing 2 blasts from a shotgun up into the air. Yes, I realize it's a shotgun and it's shot pellets that we're talking about being up in the air and they spread and they fall. But still, it's an unsafe action. It's irresponsible, unethical, an illegitimate act. I mean, if I ever saw it as a range safety officer, if I ever saw anything like that on any range, you're gone. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
Yep. She continues and she says, excuse me, Mr. Vice President, are you suggesting that because I'm a mom that I'm not realistic about the drastic measures that may have to be taken in order to protect my children's lives and that I shouldn't want the choice to be able to protect my family? I love this woman. Ultimately, Colorado's attempt to repeal campus carry failed, sparing the right of licensed students to carry on campus, but it was an eye-opener on the attitudes of many claiming to stand up for women. I am grateful to the NRA and so many others who work to defeat bans in Colorado and elsewhere, and for those who have supported me along my journey. I am encouraged to see record numbers of women getting involved in shooting and self-defense. I love my tactical classes. I just don't get to take them very often. And I like my range time. I just don't get to go as often as I'd like. And I still want to go to the NRA range. I can't wait for the day I can begin teaching my daughters to protect themselves. And I pray that, unlike their mother, they won't be legislated into being victims. Good one. A really good one. Well, Rain Man, I'm sorry that your picture is blurry, but dude, you're not drinking fast enough, clearly. So, what do you got? Oh, Sheila Dixon.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah, Sheila Dixon. Let's see. I left office in a disgrace because of gift cards and other improprieties, but I'm going to come back. Can we just start calling her the Marion Barry of Baltimore?
Well, no, but she's not quite as bad because his was drugs.
Yeah, but he was set up.
They framed me.
No. It wasn't that. We can't say the quote because of the time.
They framed me.
Set me up.
Yeah. The female
No,
dog set me up.
I have no words. Other than, does she stand a chance? Absolutely. The citizenry of Baltimore will vote her in a heartbeat. The citizens of Baltimore were already complaining because she got booted because of legal reasons anyway. So yeah. There's nothing I can really say on that one. Let's see. There's that. So we talked about her. We had
I don't know why she thinks. I have no idea why she thinks she can win.
We have the lovely intro that I had with our blubbering former governor, now declared presidential candidate, who is getting his backside handed to him in the media over, the media's going after him over rain tax things every now and then, going after him over his stance on gun control.
Yeah.
It's interesting to watch the liberal media trumpet the fact that Martin O'Malley was for gun control. It's like, okay, so the fact that a Democrat was for gun control because he's not the Democrat that you want in office as the liberal media means we're going to go ahead and throw him under the bus because he was for gun control. Interesting.
Yeah, but Martin, just give Martin O'Malley a chance. No, just give Martin O'Malley a chance. He'll be for it before he's against it. No, for heaven's sakes, what a disaster.
So there were a couple of them. I'm gonna tag on to your Whataburger.
Okay.
So going back to Whataburger says no guns.
Okay.
There's a chain with a little bit of a different story. So from let's see, gunwatch.blogspot.com, and I wasn't able. I think I was able to find one article on this somewhere else, but from a Facebook page for a company called Chicken Express in Magnolia, Arkansas. On Saturday, July 4th, we will be giving a free #1 combo to anyone with a concealed handgun license. This will be dine-in only. You must have your license with you. We hope everyone has a happy and safe 4th of July.
I think that's awesome. That's awesome.
That's from Arkansas. There's, obviously looking at things about representing that they stand behind the rights of their customers. We do actually have some local establishments that have done that. They're not here in Maryland, but there is a local Cajun joint down in Leesburg. That's
not local.
No.
That's
okay,
local.
it's Northern Virginia.
That's local for Gun Bunny.
Well, yes, but it's and I have family that live right around the corner, literally within a mile of it. But they do every Wednesday. They welcome open carry of firearms anytime in the store, but specifically on Wednesdays. The owners had been in the news media a couple of years ago now, but not anything recently, as being blatantly supportive of our rights. But yeah, I'd love to see it in Maryland. I don't know whether we will or not.
Right.
You've got gun stores in Virginia that actually have signs in their windows going, "We welcome it."
Yeah.
And please, basically, I can't remember the exact wording on the sign, but if you must use it, just make sure it's actually needed to be used.
Right. Yeah.
But if you're going to defend our store,
something about precision is appreciated, or
Yes.
something like that. Yeah. What do you got?
Rain Man Dixon to SRB. Your city sucks.
Female dog.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. I'm going to skip around a little bit.
All right. Yeah, because I'm down to the last couple articles.
Alrighty.
Oh, wait, I had another one. I did have another
We'll
one.
talk about that one later. So this one was one that just flipped me out, and it's from NRA ILA. Dateline is the 30th of June. The title: LAPD union seeks carve out in storage legislation. So, as we know from recent those people that follow on shooters, recent case out of the 9th that was denied cert, challenging San Francisco's ordinance that is similar to, but not exactly like the one that was in Heller. So for those of you, refresher course for people, or for those of us, those in our chat room that are new, Heller versus DC was a prohibition on any operable firearm in the home, period.
Right.
DC had the law that said it had to be inoperable no matter what. San Francisco's law is similar, that it must be rendered inoperable when not physically carried on the person of a lawful carrier within your own home. So I could theoretically carry my pistol around, but I have to be awake and in control of it. So when I go to sleep, I'd have to unholster it and put it in a safe.
Because you might shoot somebody in your sleep?
I don't know.
Because that's a common occurrence?
But the case went all the way up to, if I remember correctly, it's Jackson versus the city and county of San Francisco. The Ninth Circuit ruled in favor of the city and county of San Francisco. The plaintiffs took it to the Supreme Court. It was denied cert. It led to a blistering dissent from Thomas and Scalia about the fact that this is it's basically letting the lower courts ride roughshod over top of their decisions in Heller and McDonald, because it is, in their mind, substantially similar. Yes, there are some unique differences, but however, in light of Jackson versus the city and county of San Francisco being denied cert, the city of Los Angeles is trying to put through a similar law in LA. Now, the article. Rightly or wrongly, the Los Angeles Police Department is the owner of, shall we say, somewhat less than sterling reputation when it comes to respecting the civil liberties of those it serves. The department did nothing to improve this distinction last week when its union, the Los Angeles Police Protective League, sought a carve-out that would protect current and retired officers from onerous new firearm storage requirements that the LA City Council is intent on enacting, while leaving civilians to suffer. Well, I have a couple of problems with the way NRA ILA presents this, but that's just me. Police officers are civilians, but they're not military, therefore they're civilians. But this is one of those cases of the laws are for thee and not for me.
Right.
So, I'm all for police officers being able to respond in an instant and needing access to their firearms at a moment's notice. Absolutely. And being subject to recall and everything else. I get that. I have a brother that's a law enforcement officer. I respect him immensely for what he does, and friends and family members that are cops or have been cops in the past. I get it. Mm-hmm. But they're civilians. They're citizens of this country just like I am. Why are their rights any more specific than mine? If you're saying that they have an expedited fear in their own home, or that they need to be prepared, okay, I still have the same fears. Granted, they're somewhat different. If somebody finds out my brother's name and address, yes, I'm worried about who may be coming there.
Sure, of
course. The fact that he lives multiple miles away from his jurisdiction kind of puts a little hamper on that one. But it smacked me the like I said, laws for thee, but not for me.
Well, yeah, I'm not a big fan of carve-outs.
No, I'm not either, and it shouldn't be there at all. NRA goes through.
Really only want tea and crumpets. Skipper key. Or I'm sorry, that was gyro. Sorry, dear. Vacation was expensive. It's the cheap stuff. Oh, Rain. if you're gonna drink bourbon, you got to drink the good stuff. I've got. You want to go? Or you want me to go? I got 2 left.
I've got 2 left too. So hold on.
Okay.
One that I do want to talk about because, and you know, there's some notes from you to me on this one.
Yeah.
Based upon a discussion that's been had, and I would agree with this. So most of us, probably all of us in this chat room and that listen to the show, are aware of the recent ruling from the Supreme Court on same-sex marriages and the impact on licensing. And most everybody is probably aware that CC, RKBA, SAF, and a couple of others have come out and said this should make it, you know, recognizable for my carry permits everywhere. I would have to say we have to use caution on this one. I can see, I'm not a lawyer. Neither one of us on this show are lawyers.
Nope.
Our favorite person.
We are not giving legal advice. We're just giving an opinion about the law.
Our favorite individual, you know, from NRA ILA is also not a lawyer.
Right. She should have been. She would say to you, if somebody will pay for me to go to law school, I will go.
But I think all 3 of us kind of agree on this one. I've had chats with a couple of other people about this too. It's one that the case could probably be cited in a case that would hopefully make its way up to the Supreme Court and be able to use it as precedent to say, you've said this type of license this type of license is related to a fundamental civil right, the right to get married, which is not enumerated in the Constitution. But then again, the 9th Amendment says that the Bill of Rights is not exclusive. It's not meant to be the only list of rights just because they're enumerated. But we've now said that a license to get married in any state is impacting a fundamental civil right. Therefore, it is a license to be married in all states. Great. That doesn't automatically mean that this applies to our carry permits. And I, for one, I wouldn't want to be the test case. You know, just to say, okay, I'm going to use that and go out and I'm going to carry in Maryland on my Virginia permit. I personally have one. I wouldn't do it.
Cost of defending your rights.
Cost of defending yourself. Yes, I respect people who want to make a principled stand, but realize that the principled stand is going to result in this at a minimum: arrest, prosecution, a removal as a result of that prosecution under due process of your Second Amendment protected rights as your case is heard. We already know how long it takes for these things to go through the courts. The process through the federal system is not a rapid one. Very rarely is it rapid.
Right.
Wren, for example, is flying through. Palmer flew through, and it was held for 4 years.
Rain Man says, so we get rainbows, but no unicorns.
Well, you know, I would just, like I said, I think it's our responsibility to say, you know, what. It's our personal opinions, but you know, and this is mine specifically. I'd love to see this used as case logic, being brought into any of the cases that may make it up to the Supreme Court, and referencing this specific case in federal courts below this level and all the way up to the Supreme Court to say, hey, this is a substantially similar case. You're still talking about a fundamental civil right. The right to marriage is, I would agree, is a civil right. I don't have a problem saying it's a civil right. It's not enumerated. The Second Amendment protects rights that are enumerated. I don't see a problem with this case being used, but I wouldn't want to be the test case.
Right.
I would tread very, very carefully, and I would really want to talk to some of our other legal minds, both those that we have as friends, those that other folks have as professional contacts, to take a look at it and see. It'll be surprising if this actually gets referenced by Gura or Clemente in front of DC, any of the courts, noticing any of their cases, to say, hey, here's another statement based upon this recent ruling. What do you think? But it's going to have to play out.
It's going to be interesting. And no gun-shaped Skittles, Rain Man. Newspressnow.com. Kansas preparing for new concealed carry law. In early April, Governor Sam Brownback signed a bill that would eliminate the necessity of having a permit while carrying a concealed firearm. The new law goes into effect today. This is going on while Missouri's bill deregulating the concealed carry permit process is dead in the water. The Kansas bill allows Kansans 21 and older to carry a weapon concealed without a permit or training. If they travel outside of the state, they will be required to prove they have undergone training for their firearms. Here's my problem with that. And I realize, look, we pick and choose our battles and get the best bill we can through and go back and clean things up later. I'm fine. I'm really fine with that. But it still bothers me that you can join the military at 18, hell, 17 with your parents' permission, fight and die for your country, and you can't have
drink
a
or smoke.
beer, you can't carry your firearm. It's just a pet peeve of mine. It's been a pet peeve of mine for a long time. Atchison County Sheriff Jack Laurie believes concealed carry laws and permits have no bearing on keeping firearms out of the hands of those who shouldn't have them. He said individuals should do everything they can to secure their weapons and be cautious about where guns are left. There's no safety regulations at this point, Mr. Laurie said, and that was one good thing about these classes, especially our local guys that teach the classes. They put a lot of that class on gun safety. Without the legal emphasis on gun safety, Mr. Laurie said he wants to organize free classes to educate the public on firearm safety, especially children. Just because you have the right to carry a gun doesn't mean you need to carry a gun, Mr. Laurie said, meaning that if you aren't familiar with guns and you don't know how to operate guns and you don't know how to take them apart and clean them safely, things like that, then you probably don't have any business carrying a gun. I don't disagree. Don't disagree. You don't get behind the wheel of a car without knowing how to operate it. You have to take a class.
Two minds.
Somebody has
We
to
don't
teach you.
require classes for other fundamental civil rights. We accept that people have a certain level of personal responsibility.
I hear what you're saying. I guess we'll just leave that out there. But I'm thinking in terms of not so much fundamental civil rights, but other things that you would have control over that would be considered deadly weapons, like a car. We have requirements for even when we were coming up. You still had to take a driver's test, even if you grew up in a generation before mine where all you did was show up for the test. Now, I think we had to take some.
But once again, you're conflating an issue that's common among the antis too. But driving is a privilege. The right to travel is a right to travel.
But no,
there's nothing in there that specifies how that travel must be accomplished.
What have you got in your hands?
It's a common access card reader.
Okay.
Reads my ID card.
Oh, thank you.
And it's just, you know me, I have to have something to do. But
Driver was a little ADHD. Anyway.
Well, I mean, hell, I play games on my phone when I'm ever watching videos with him. So, the argument with driver's licenses, I hate, because driving is considered and has been settled in court that it's a privilege, not a right. The right to travel is a right to travel. The means by which to do so has not been defined as any individual means that, travel by horse is not a right. Travel by bicycle is not a right. They're all privileges. Travel, period. Well, can you put one foot in front of the other? You got the right to travel.
There you go.
I can walk across the state line from Maryland to DC to Virginia and nobody can say a word to me. But it's a conflation of issues that worries me when we start doing that.
Yeah, no, I get your point. I don't know how I feel about it, but I go for training anyway, and I frankly don't know anybody that doesn't.
I don't know very many lawful firearms owners that would not agree that training is a responsibility. I mean, my best friends.
Speaking of training, we still have to. My friend who needs the training, we still have to get her hooked up.
So, I mean, yeah, I have no issues carrying my firearm, but I've had training for doing some stuff. Not to the level that I want. I still want, there are courses I want to take.
Sure.
My other best friend's a cop. He's been trained in how to carry his firearm. One of my other friends has been trained in carrying a sidearm as part of his military training, but isn't comfortable. Therefore, he wouldn't do it unless he got trained. Great. I'm all for that. That's your, again, personal responsibility. We had Cypher that just got finished doing a couple of different courses, one related to the DC carry permit that he did.
Right.
He also sponsored Andrew Bronca coming down to talk about his book, the lawful. I don't remember the title of his book, but one of the lawful carry things. Lawyer that wrote a book about carrying and what you should be doing.
Huh.
The law of self-defense, if I remember right. But I don't think I have not run into very many firearms owners that would disagree that training is a responsibility of any firearms owner. But I have run into many firearms owners and many of the people in our community that have come down and helped and testified in front of the committees in the legislature in Annapolis, who pretty much have the same feeling. I am all for training. I am not for the state legislating what I must take for training.
And right. Until every one of those legislators is going to sit in those classes.
Well, until every single,
then maybe I would consider letting them.
I look at it this way, and I have people on Facebook that have come back to me and say that I'm trying to do a non sequitur or a useless distraction type of attack on somebody. But I look at it this way. You can tell me that I need to take training to exercise my Second Amendment protected rights and freedoms. The minute there is also a requirement that everybody is going to have to do the same damn thing. If we have to have a church qualification license in order for us to attend any church and go through a background check before I can go to church, or even more specifically to take it. I'll take it beyond the free speech one. Look at the other rights that people don't think of very often in the First Amendment. One of the last ones mentioned. The right to petition your government for the redress of grievances. The day I have to do more than just show an ID card, and I hate the fact that Congress has that rule to get into the building. Now to get into Congress, I have to have an appointment and show my ID. That to me, it's 902, is bullshit. But when you start and tell and have this country say that we've got an amendment that says in order to exercise these protected freedoms, you must do all of this bullshit for everything that's protected under the First Amendment. Fine. Tell me what you want me to do for training for the Second. But until then, it's a protected civil right. It's a protected fundamental freedom. It's a responsibility thing. I should have a responsibility in what I do and say. I have a responsibility, the common thing of you can't shout fire in a crowded theater. Bullshit. I can shout fire in a crowded theater all I want. That is actually First Amendment protected speech. However, if my shouting fire in a crowded theater and there is no fire causes an injury or causes a riot or causes damage to the facility, then the facility and the people involved in the injuries have every right to sue me, and the government has every right to come after me for breaking the law for causing somebody else harm. That's not saying that I don't have a First Amendment right to protected speech.
Right.
But my speech may have consequences.
That's right.
So
I'm with you. So I'm going to change the subject.
Okay.
I pulled this one up myself. I thought it was funny. The Washington Post, 2 days ago. Apparently, John Oliver was even hammering on CNN for its Saturday exclusive on the alarming appearance. Can't see without these. On the alarming appearance of an Islamic State flag at London's Pride Parade. Did you read it? Did you read about this?
Yes.
Based on the reporting from International Assignment editor Lucy Paul, the network claimed that no one but CNN had taken notice of this unnerving sight. Turns out some clever individual had pocked an Islamic State look-alike flag with images of sex toys. So I had to wait until after 9 o'clock for this one. In his send-up of the situation, John Oliver said on his show last week tonight, the greatest moment in global pride celebrations actually had nothing to do with gay marriage and everything to do with the idiocy of CNN. After running through the dynamics of the screw-up, Oliver noted that one day after the embarrassment, they still have not addressed the mistake on air, probably because it would be just too embarrassing to have a professional journalist say, "I'm sorry, despite working at CNN, I still don't know what a phallic sex toy looks like," only he didn't say phallic sex toy. Nor will CNN be addressing the matter. When asked whether it would be whether they would issue a statement or otherwise do any interviews on the flag mess, a CNN spokeswoman emailed, "No." Not another word was in that email, apparently. So they go on. That's piling one mistake atop another. Given that we're talking about the mistake that occurred on a Saturday involving a satirical flag festooned with images of sex toys, it's tempting to laugh off the whole matter, which is what CNN appears to be doing. Yet the tone of the report from anchor Suzanne Malveaux and Lucy Paul was anything but jocular. Team CNN couldn't fathom why more people weren't alarmed by the situation, and it ran photos of what CNN would have you believe was an Islamic State supporter. Plenty of material to retract, in other words.
And we'll never hear a retraction.
So apparently CNN doesn't know the difference between an Islamic flag and a vibrator. Just saying. All right, that's all I got.
Well, I don't know how accurate this one is anymore, but from yesterday.
News changes quick around
Baltimore
here.
Crime Beat, BaltimoreSun.com.
Oh, I have one more.
Mr. Sean Welsh. Title of the article, 13 shot since Monday morning in Baltimore.
Oh.
So as of Tuesday morning, 282 non-fatal shootings have been reported in the city so far this year. At the same time last year, 151.
Yeah.
Yep, that HQL requirement's really working.
Yeah. Boy, how's that firearm safety act
143
working?
homicides so far in 2015 compared to 98.
Florida, this is the last thing. I pulled this up at the end. Florida Uber driver has been reportedly suspended pending a police investigation after he broke the company's anti-gun policy. Here's a reason not to use Uber. And shot a passenger who was allegedly choking him during an argument. Clearwater police are investigating after the passenger in an Uber vehicle was allegedly shot Sunday night during an altercation with the driver, who was 74-year-old Stephen Rayau. Passenger Mark Memel, 60, was shot in the foot and treated and released at a local hospital, NBC affiliate reported. Quote, "There was a gentleman sitting in his car and there was like blood dripping out of the car. So I was concerned what was going on." Justin Smith, who works at Union Burger in Mandalay Bay, told the station, "I came back inside to get a couple of rags just to make sure he wasn't bleeding or anything. But it wasn't anything vital. The police spokesman said the driver basically told us that the passenger started choking him. He had his hands around his neck and in fear of losing consciousness. And that's when the driver of the car pulled out a gun, and in the ensuing struggle, the gun went off." Mr. Rao is a retired New York City police officer and does have a concealed weapons permit. So I don't even know what the problem is here. A new Uber policy prohibits riders or drivers from possessing a gun. Reason number 2, not to use Uber. Uber spokesman said Mr. Rayau's access to the Uber platform has been removed, NBC reported. Sunday's incident is a glaring example of why Uber needs to be regulated, with drivers getting a level 2 background check, Public Transportation Commission Executive Director Dude told NBC. Okay, not using Uber. Not that they have many of them running around Centerville.
So it's going to be interesting to see on that one, because Uber and Lyft have both prided themselves on being different from a taxi service, because they're, and a lot of taxi services are similar though too, that they do not have employees. They're independent contractors.
Right. But you still have to
every new policy that they create is one additional hole. If you've ever read the definition of what is an independent contractor per IRS regulations, they're probably going to regret basically forcing every one of their drivers to be considered an employee. and now subject to employee regulations, which means, oh, you've been paying them per ride. Well, if they're an employee, they get paid differently. And they're driving their own personal vehicles. So what right do you have to tell them what they can do in and out of their car? Yeah, there's a whole bunch of potential pitfalls to that one.
Yeah. Just a reminder, thank you, Applehead. In 6 days, the next handgun permit review board meeting is being held at 6 p.m. at the Glen Burnie Barracks. So if you want to go, and Apple, if you'd like to be on the show next Wednesday and let us know what happened, we would love to have you call in. Tag Mike offline or myself offline, and you can reach me on my cell. If you're not friended to me on Facebook or you're not friended to Mike on Facebook, well, okay, then you'll just have to call me 410-490-2734.
Or you can send me, you can send either one of us a private message on Shooters if you're a member of Shooters.
Send him a private message on Shooters because I don't get my private messages very often. I'm really bad about that. So
my ID on there is MJD 438.
So there you go. I think that's all of the announcements we have too.
Yeah,
I don't think there's
I didn't
anything.
have anything else.
Okay.
There's nothing that I know of that's coming up that.
I know something that's coming up, but I guess we'll have to wait until it's official. It won't be official until October. The general meeting of the Maryland State Rifle and Pistol Association.
Oh, okay.
So, which is October 25th, and you should plan on coming. Working on a speaker now. It will be. Oh, God, I'll get you the location. I know where it is. I went last year. I can't think of where it is. Not far from where you live, though.
Okay.
Rolling.
Turf Valley?
I don't think it's Turf Valley. No, Turf Valley's. No, this is on a golf course.
Yes, Turf Valley is a golf course.
No, Rolling. Anyway.
Oh, you're talking about the one in Baltimore County.
Okay. Anyway, that's where it is. I'll get you more details on that, but put October 25th on your calendars. You're scared? Whatever. You ain't scared of nothing. So, scared. That's about all I got. You got an outro?
Oh, I'll just use one of our regular ones. We need to start taking a look at some things
We will
to do.
see. You going to be here next week?
Next week, yes. The week after, no.
Okay.
The week after, I'll be on a training trip for work.
Okay. All right. So we will see you next Wednesday, July 8th. By the way, have a wonderful Independence Day.
And a safe one.
And please be very, very safe. And if you're drinking, don't drive. Get some 17-year-old to drive.
If you're in one of those areas where you can legally use entertainment style devices made from products that explode, please be careful with them.
Yes.
If you're in areas that don't allow it, well, it's a personal responsibility thing there.
You can come in my backyard and watch us because we get the ones from the locals and they sparkle. Which works.
I live in one of those counties that doesn't allow anything. So.
Oh no, we're allowed to have whatever the state permits us to have, which is much.
I live in Montgomery County Light. So.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready whenever you are.
All
We're
right.
still talking.
Okay.
Good night, all.
Night, guys.
Here we come, walking down the street. We get funniest looks from everyone we meet. Hey,